Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Upashama Prakarana, section 67 continues, and the topic is attachment. And how to remedy it. O Rama, Vasishtha continues to enlighten Rama. But that's the basis, allegorical setting, because you would like to hear what Vasishtha has to say to Rama. But it's meant for you. When you learn things in a little indirectly, not directly told, it's easier for the mind to accept. Subtle art behind it. O Rama, the ego idea is a root cause of birth, old age, death, and numerous miseries in life. First point you have to understand that being in the world and continuing to reincarnate, that's called bhava vyadhi, the disease of the world process. You are never at ease. Even disease doesn't put you at ease. Get back again. And the world is a like vast hospital. And the root cause lies in egoism. To give you a little reminder of 7 chains of pain. What's most striking to your mind? What you want to achieve? The answer lies to be free of dukkha, pain. Get all the gain, but no pain. But now, sit back and try to think of it in a mature way. What's the cause of pain? Because you are born as a human being. Embodiment. And what causes you to be embodied? Karma. And what secures karma movement? Raga dvesha. You are constantly working on the basis of attachment, love and hate, like and dislike. You never go in between. Either is something to like or something to dislike. But the Reality in you doesn't require like or dislike. It's ever-present reality. Like, your mind is distracted. And what you like, you are never sure. In the morning you like it, by the evening you don't like it. Attachment and hatred, they go together. If you are mathematically to the proportion you are attached to that proportion, you are vulnerable to hatred, like and dislike. I'm not going into too much detail. These are simple highlights. This Raga Dvesha movement is based upon egoism, called ahamkar, the most risky card to be. You have to make a subtle understanding. Ego itself is not bad. Ego is part of your practical reality. If you don't have ego, can't exist. Ego is like a pillar. But the pillar should not obstruct your view. It should be transparent. So the more humility is there in your ego and more love of God, more clarity, your ego is transparent. When it is transparent, your vision doesn't stop at the ego. You go beyond understanding that you are not just the ego. The real source of your ego is eternal I am. So, coming back to enumeration, you have pain because you are embodied. The cause of embodiment, karma. Cause of karma, raga dvesha, attachment, hatred. Cause of mind swinging to constantly attachment and hatred is egoism. And the cause of entertaining egoism is a lack of Vivek. Vivek is a subtle spiritual quality of understanding the difference between soul and your body. Soul is spirit, body is matter. Body is matter, and you are not exhausted in your body. You are using the body. So therefore, an awareness has to develop that you are not a mortal personality, that you are subject to mortality. Mortality limits all your mental capacity, all your enthusiasm. You may have wonderful ideas, you might have created an imagination of acres and acres of lands with beautiful flowers. But mortality comes breathing frost over all of them. And when you live your life with that type of tragic fact, you are unable to bring out inspiration, joy, strength through your life. So, practice of Vivek, that is a profound topic, and that requires a lot of patience, a lot of satsanga, and a lot of your sadhana in daily life. But that objective, that goal has to be kept in view. And non-discrimination is caused by ignorance, avidya. So ultimately, your goal is to be free of avidya, ignorance. He who is free of the ego idea is indeed liberated from the world process. Every mantra contains the word nama. The root letters of nama is neither me nor mine. The negation of ego identity. Your ego identity is not real. When you go to sleep, your ego identity moves away just like slippers under your bed. And for 8 hours, 9 hours, sometimes people sleep 10 hours. You are without your ego, I didn't miss it. You never viewed yourself imperfect without the ego. That the subtle wisdom lies in that simple experience. In divine plan, God has put the highest wisdom very close to you. But it requires your spiritual maturity and sensitivity. So therefore, deep within your heart, there must develop, instead of ego-based worries and anxieties, the thrill that you will experience by surrendering to God. Because God wants to reach the goal, which is revelation of I am, aham brahma. From I am body to the highest goal, aham brahmasmi, I am the absolute. Simpler illustration is every soul is like a reflected sun in a jar of water. Think of yourself. First stage, a reflected sun. A reflected sun, how distant, how limited. No matter whatever may be the most prosperous setting for the reflected sun, beautiful jar, clearer water, shining sky entering into the water. No matter how, this is called prosperity in the world. No matter how prosperous, can you compare that with the awareness, I am the sun? That I am the sun is waiting eagerly for you, the beloved soul, to come back. I'm joking, but allegorical. The divine self, truth waits and will never go away. Subtle divine pull is always being exerted on you. And therefore, in everyday life, you are constantly working for three things. Sat Chit Ananda. You want to exist. You will never entertain the idea that you are going to die. Next point, you always want to know everything. You don't want to be a dullard. Next idea, you only want to be happy. But all these 3 points are not well understood. What is to exist? What is there? How to be all-knowing? How to be all blissful? All these 3 points relate to your essential nature. That's your reality. In the stage of being ignorant, instinctive urge remains in every individual to work upon these 3 aspects: to exist, to know, and to be happy. But you have to now allow your mind to become mature, not be a kid, to understand what really, where can you really gain all the 3? You gain all the 3 by discovering, who am I? Aham Brahmasmi. That Brahman is presented to you in the form of Satchit Ananda, existence, knowledge and bliss. And that's where you are essentially. And therefore your instinctive urge is constantly to go after these 3, but in a distorted way. You're looking for perfection. A reflected sun is looking for perfection in the realm of jars and waters. Vishwabandhutva. Just as a crystal or a statue that harbors inner cracks is not unfit for worship, in the same manner, a mind that harbors attachments is devoid of purity. Harboring attachment, try to understand what it implies. It implies moving away from reality. Reality, you are Satchidananda, that's reality. Moving away from it and going after reflections of reality. Attachment is turning you away from the reality to its reflection. So no matter how many good things you get attached to, you can never be perfect, because they are all reflections. A mind that harbors attachments is devoid of purity. The mind is holding on to attaining a goal in the terms of reflection. If your goal is in the realm of mirage, then all that you are gaining is on the basis of your mental delusion. You are not gaining the reality. So therefore, in the spiritual sadhana, your goal lies in purifying the mind. And that requires profound understanding, insight. And just to give you an idea, it's called mala, gross impurities, anger, hate, greed, jealousy, pride. All these impurities are called malas, malos. And these malas have their root, subtle root, in your subconscious. In that state, these are called vasanas, impure desires, subtle desires. And vasanas have their root in ignorance, a deep-rooted misunderstanding about yourself, a veil of illusion. And all these three have to be conquered, negated for attaining self-realization. Again, I will remind you of simple simile for understanding the point. Self-realization is just like a project of seeing yourself reflected fully in purified mind. Your mind acts like a mirror. How you see yourself in the mirror, that's where your real fun exists. But mirror has three defects. First stage of mirror, lot of dust is over it. So you can't see your face at all. And you end up develop a sense of humiliation about yourself. You are nothing, useless. Greater the impurity, greater is that humiliation. That's mala stage. Now, as you clarify that mala and begin to see your face, but now your face reflects in a multi-aspected way, because mala has gone away, but still there is a subtle stage of impurity that distorts your face. But now you become so excited that you have such wondrous personality with so many heads. And you don't know which head you should admire. Sometimes mirror gives you. The nose goes there, the eyes goes there. And that happens because, to give you again in an allegorical way, when you begin to see what you never thought you are, your potential energy operating, your hand shakes, you can't believe it. And the more your hand shakes, not holding the mirror correctly, more distractions. Your faces move everywhere, east, west, north, south. That's called vikshepa. Shaking of the mind. And lastly, when you control the mirror, now only one obstacle stays. When you begin to see your quiet, wonderful, gentle face, it's shocking, your head comes down. Your hair comes floating over your eyes. Again, you are shut out of who you are. This last shut out is done by your ignorance, avidya, which has no substance. All that you need to do is shake your head and your hair goes, allows you to see correct. This I gave just so that it's easy to grab the truth. Mala, vikshepa and avarana, like seeing your face in a mirror. First stage, dirty mirror. Now, as you begin to clean, can't believe who you are. Your hand begins to shake. The shaking mirror. Third stage, veiled mirror. All these three have to be removed to attain enlightenment. To keep the mirror so clean, so clear, so steady, that's there's a revelation. The mirror gives out what you are really. And once you have seen your face in a real way, all faces you see are effaced. When the mind is free of attachments and impurities, a person is liberated, even though existing in the world. But if the mind is attached to objects, even after practicing years of austerity, he is bound to, he is in a state of bondage. Just as a sleeping person, though inactive in this body, in his body, experiences various miseries and conditions in his dream. In the same manner, overpowered by the illusion of egoism, though essentially devoid of all miseries, the soul continues to wander in the long dream of the world process. Another simple way to understand. When you are dreaming, what's your practical reality? You are on a bed, covered up with nice cushions, and very comfortable. If any close relative looks for you and sees, reports to others, oh, he's sleeping so wonderfully. But then, are you really experiencing that peaceful state? Suppose you are having a very miserable dream. You're driving a car and car has just bounced and it had a stand. And you find yourself facing lots of things. People who didn't help you, or people who caused the accident to occur. Your mind goes in so many directions, and a great tragedy. And when you look anywhere at that time, nothing seems interesting, nothing seems relaxing. But what's the reality? All that you are seeing is your own self, because there was nobody else on your bed. So everything that you experienced came out of your own consciousness, led by your subconscious impressions, like a mirage, like a drama. All human experiences are through the magic of your mind. Mind goes on projecting, like watch a cinema show. Everything that you are seeing is a magical process. The reality behind all the projections is the screen. The screen doesn't scream. When things happen, you scream. But scream doesn't. It's calm. Similarly, just like in dream, all dream happens and yet nothing is real. All cinema show goes on giving you lots of spicy experiences of joy and sorrow, but nothing really is real. In the same way, all your life experiences are sustained by projections of the mind. So your focus should be how to change this mind and its projections, instead of how to change your houses and change your money and change the people around. That becomes secondary. O Rama, if the chitta is active without harboring attachments within itself, its actions do not create bondage. Now, two types of activity. One is rag, another is anurag. Rag is attachment. Attachment to illusions, names and forms. Anurag, love that turns your attention to the source of happiness. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. All things become dear, but don't go after those deer. The reality that makes all things dear is your own self. So, if you begin to discover, you discover it in two stages. First stage, all happiness comes from God. Love of God, instead of love of objects, you turn the same objects and their love as reflections of divine love. So don't get lost with objects. Whatever you are loving through relatives and friends and human beings, this movement is towards love of God. You are loving God in your children, God in all relations. If that type of subtle spiritual sensitivity were to develop, now that type of love will not be frustrated. It will go on increasing. In spite of all the tragic things that happen in the world, the love for God will not fade, will not wane, it goes on waxing. That's called anurag. And therefore you begin to love God more and more. But when you go after raga, loving object, your mind gets divided into raga and dvesha. You start trying to secure the object of your love. In order to secure, you have to remove all insecurities. And the more attachment, greater are your insecurities. And since you don't know where the insecurities are, your mind goes into a doubting stage of hating everybody. Misunderstanding creates a big illusion. In brief, in worldly attachment, the joyousness diminishes and a burden of worry increases. But in Godward movement, the worrisome things diminishes and increasing joy develops. These points have to be understood in a profound way. If you tell all this in one day, it will be for a short time. But if you do it again and again, no matter how things are in the world, your sadhana you should not miss your sadhana, your japa, your prayer, whatever you do, not for a single day. No matter how you live, whatever you do, you eat every day. So, understand, spiritual food should be also every day, without getting bored, without getting tired. How long I have to go on doing satsanga? If that way your mind gets cultured, then your actions do not create bondage. Your actions will be expressions of goodness. How can you help others? Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Your heart will work on the basis of seeing people relieved of their misery. Big money gain doesn't give your heart as much fulfillment as you see your presence and your help has relieved distress in the heart of people. People become your close relatives. If you are parents loving a child, at that stage, money doesn't give you that much happiness as you would see your child free of misery. Figure that out. So that type of mystic value develops of love. And as love of God goes on developing, fire of knowledge burns up all illusions, impressions of what we call kleshas, ignorance, egoism, attachment, hatred, fear of death. These impressions, they are in your deep unconscious. They all get burnt up. Burnt up implying they get roasted. They are as if you live. All these points will be there in your personality, but they are not alive, they are not dynamic. Popcorns, you can go on eating, they are very delightful, but you can't sow them. They can't bring out any more popcorn. So the karma stage in a sage becomes like popcorn stage. All karmas will operate as long as you have body. Then every reality of the body stays with you. But all this stays to allow you to be a human being serving other human beings in a profound way. And you are not creating new karmas. led by the law of karma. Again, your prarabdha karma comes to terminate. So whether prarabdha karma continues or terminates, you are established in the realization, I am that, I am Brahman. Nothing exists. All this is God appearing in different names and forms. When one's mind is attached to his beloved, who lives in a distant land, he remains indifferent to the immediate circumstances that surround him. Simple way to understand. They're all your near and dear ones, all close by. But suddenly you receive in your iPad a communication from Australia. A loved one who has found a job there. And now your face lights up, your teeth shine. And all people are wondering, where is this person? Give attention to me. Your whole attention goes far away. So you shouldn't say complain. I have so many things to do, so many near and dear. How can I love God? I don't have time. In other words, for experiencing profound love, the immediate circumstances, they are not restricting you. You can easily transcend them. That's the power of love. And I'll give you also a parable. A simple parable is told to explain the power of love. A lady who was extremely in love with a lover. In the early morning, she goes out towards the Ganges river looking for the beloved. And as she goes out, being so mentally involved, as if intoxicated, she steps up upon the mat of a great yogi. Yogi was big fame. And power, he awakened all Kundalini chakras. And everyone bowed down to him. And here comes this wretched lady stepping upon his rug, his sacred seat. He becomes full of anger and starts shouting at her. She first doesn't know what to do, but then she starts laughing. I said, why are you laughing? My love is worldly love. And in that love, I'm unable to see things around me. Who cares where the rug is, where the seat is? And you are supposed to love the infinite God. And look at your teeth. Look at your face. How torture you put yourself into. So can do nothing but laugh. Figure that out. O Rama, renounce this attachment to objects, which is the cause of all miseries in this world. When attachment is renounced, so when it's being told, you must realize you can't renounce attachment unless you have something that surpasses the joy of being attached to object. And that something that surpasses is God, to understand that even the object that you are loving, deep down you are loving the self. What happens? Firstly, your mind develops desire. Desire is a kind of a polish. When you desire something, that's something you are not now seeing in a detached way. You are seeing that with a polish. Unwittingly, you have supplied the polish. And to such an extent, when you come close to the object of your love, you have polished it to such an extent that your face is shining in. You hold the object to your heart very lovingly, but must realize it is not the object. You are loving yourself. So, that's the reality behind all your love of the world. That's a mature way to understand. And therefore, when you bring in your love a subtle opening up within your insight, that whatever makes me feel tender-hearted, joyous, source is God. So, your mind goes more and more into bhakti, devotional movement, love of God. And as love of God blossoms, rather shines more and more, the revelation occurs. Aham Brahmasmi. I will quote one from Nirvana Shatakam of Shankaracharya. Mano buddhi ahamkara chittani naham. I am neither mind, nor intellect, nor egoism, nor the unconscious. Nata shotra jihve, nata ghrana netre. I am not the ears, not the tongue, not the nose, not the eyes. Nata vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayu. I am none of the elements, earth, water, air, fire. Chidananda rupa shivoham, shivoham. I am pure awareness, the absolute Shiva. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. This is the highest climax of your yoga movement. Your integral yoga comes to climax through bhakti, devotion. And with the second. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukam Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम हरि ओम तत्सत्।